Jupiter isn't just protecting us. It might be sending danger straight toward us. For years, we believed Jupiter was Earth's shield, but the truth is far more unsettling. The giant that stands guard. From the moon at our doorstep to Jupiter at the edge of our solar system, Earth may be more protected than we ever realized. For most of human history, we've seen our planet as fragile, a small world floating in a dangerous universe. Asteroids, comets, invisible threats moving silently through the dark with nothing to stop them. But that's not entirely true, because far beyond Earth, there's something massive watching over us. A planet so large, it contains more than twice the mass of all the other planets combined. A world so powerful, it controls the movement of entire regions of the solar system. That planet is Jupiter. It sits just beyond the asteroid belt, like a silent boundary between chaos and order, and its gravity is so strong, it doesn't just influence space around it, it dominates it. Asteroids, comets, fragments of ice and rock drifting through space. When they come near Jupiter, they don't pass by quietly. They get pulled, redirected, sometimes completely thrown out of the solar system. Gone. A threat, erased before it ever reaches us. This is why scientists often describe Jupiter as a kind of cosmic shield, a massive protector that absorbs or deflects dangerous objects long before they can threaten Earth. And without it, there's a real possibility that life on Earth might never have survived long enough to exist. But here's where things start to feel uncomfortable. If Jupiter is constantly protecting us, then why do dangerous objects still reach Earth? Why do impacts still happen? Because what Jupiter does isn't just blocking threats. Sometimes it creates them. The invisible push toward danger. And this is where everything changes. Jupiter's gravity isn't gentle. It doesn't just pull objects in. It disturbs everything around it, especially the asteroid belt, a massive region filled with millions of rocky fragments orbiting between Mars and Jupiter. Now imagine this. In the early solar system, those rocks could have formed a planet, a full world, something stable, but they didn't, because Jupiter wouldn't let them. Its gravity kept pulling, pushing, disrupting, preventing those fragments from ever coming together. Instead, they remained scattered, an unstable field of debris. And even today, that influence hasn't stopped. Jupiter continues to tug on those asteroids. Small changes, tiny shifts in orbit, movements so subtle you'd never notice them. But in space, even the smallest change can mean everything, because over time, those tiny nudges build. An asteroid that once followed a safe, predictable path begins to drift, slowly at first, then more noticeably, closer to the Sun, closer to the inner planets, closer to Earth. And in some cases, those objects don't just drift inward, they end up on a direct path toward our planet. In fact, this has already happened before. In 1770, a comet known as Lexell's Comet passed dangerously close to Earth, closer than any comet in recorded history at the time. And scientists later discovered something chilling. Its path had been altered by Jupiter, pulled, redirected, and sent inward toward us. It's almost as if Jupiter took a shot at us and missed. This process is called gravitational resonance, a powerful effect where Jupiter's influence destabilizes objects and pushes them out of their original orbits. When that happens, those objects don't disappear. They become something far more dangerous. Near-Earth objects, potential impact threats. So now the story shifts. Jupiter isn't just protecting Earth anymore. It's shaping the flow of danger itself. The monster planet we barely understand. To understand how it can do that, you have to understand what Jupiter really is. This isn't just a planet, it's a system. When NASA launched the Juno mission in August 2011, it began a journey that would take 5 full years to reach Jupiter. 5 years just to get close. And when it finally arrived in July 2016, what it found was something far more extreme than expected. Jupiter isn't calm, it's violent. At its surface, if you can even call it that, there are storms that have been raging for centuries. The most famous one, the Great Red Spot, has been active for over 300 years. Now think about that for a second. The strongest storms on Earth last a few days, maybe a week. But on Jupiter, this storm never ends. Winds there reach over 400 miles per hour, more than twice the strength of a Category 5 hurricane here on Earth. Imagine a storm that never ends and is bigger than our entire planet. And yet, it just keeps going. And unlike storms on Earth, there's no land to slow it down, no coastline, no ground, just an endless atmosphere and a storm that never hits land. But the danger doesn't stop there. Jupiter has the strongest magnetic field of any planet in the solar system. It creates massive radiation belts around the planet, zones so intense that they can damage or destroy spacecraft. Around Jupiter, space itself becomes deadly. And this is what makes Jupiter different. It doesn't just influence objects, it dominates its entire environment. Europa, the hidden setup. But the strangest part of Jupiter isn't Jupiter itself. It's what it's doing to everything around it. Orbiting this giant planet is a small frozen moon called Europa. At first glance, it looks lifeless, cold, silent, just another piece of rock and ice drifting through space. But beneath that surface, something shouldn't exist. And what scientists found there might change everything. The planet with invisible rings. But before we uncover what's hidden beneath Europa, there's something else about Jupiter that almost no one notices. Because unlike Saturn, Jupiter has rings too. You just can't see them. They're incredibly faint, made of dust and tiny ice particles, barely visible against the darkness of space. But they're not random. They're formed from debris, tiny fragments knocked off Jupiter's moons by constant impacts. Which means even here, Jupiter is still shaping its surroundings, still controlling what moves, what breaks, what survives. Nothing near Jupiter is truly stable. Everything is influenced. Everything is shifting. And once you see that, you start to realize something bigger. Jupiter doesn't just sit at the edge of the solar system. It controls it. And this is where everything changes. Beneath Europa's frozen surface, there's an ocean. Not a small one, a global ocean stretching across the entire moon. And scientists believe it may contain more water than all of Earth's oceans combined. Now imagine that. An entire world covered in ice, hiding an ocean larger than anything on Earth. And suddenly the question changes, because if there's water, there could be life. Europa is now considered one of the best places in our solar system to search for alien life. But here's the twist. That ocean shouldn't exist. At that distance from the sun, Europa should be completely frozen. So why isn't it? Because of Jupiter. Its immense gravity stretches Europa constantly, generating heat deep inside the moon, just enough to keep that ocean from freezing solid. So in a strange, almost unsettling way, the same force that creates danger is also creating the conditions for life. The truth we didn't expect. And when you step back and look at everything together, a different picture starts to form. Jupiter pulls in objects that might threaten Earth. It throws some of them out of the solar system entirely. But at the same time, it disturbs the asteroid belt. It shifts orbits. It nudges objects out of stable paths and sends some of them inward toward Earth. Jupiter doesn't decide what hits us. It decides what can hit us. And that's a very different kind of power, because it means Jupiter isn't just protecting Earth, It's controlling the entire environment of risk around it, filtering threats, redirecting others, creating the very conditions that make impacts possible in the first place. Earth isn't just randomly safe. It exists inside a system, carefully shaped by something much bigger. Jupiter may be protecting us, but it might also be shaping the threats we face. Because in the end, it doesn't just block danger, it decides what can reach us. So drop your answer below. Is Jupiter our protector or our biggest hidden risk?